someone that I've known for almost a year and a half too. I met him at a hotel and started talking to him about what he does. He's an amazing boy, 23 years old. Achieved, in my opinion, has achieved a lot of things, but he says that he still has a lot of things to achieve. When I met him, the things that he reads about you before you meet him, he does basically whatever is there in the public domain about you or me. Let's say tomorrow Jamin has a meeting scheduled or someone has a meeting with him. This guy scans all these social media, anything that's in the public domain. He will know everything about you except your wife and kid's name and bank account. Okay, he's that sharp. When I met him, he told me, what I was, what I did in US, the companies that I own, board of directors in such companies and all that stuff. It's amazing, in life, people like us, I feel we are very privileged. We have everything in life, but we still complain that we don't have enough. Srikanth is someone who inspires me and inspires thousands of people. So recently, when I say about a year and a half back, he has approached me for investment in this company. And I actually interviewed him first time and he told about his company, what it does, and I will let him speak about what he does. My main concern that time was, how can he make it happen? So we ran through a grilling session for almost 2 weeks. So after the first meeting, he expected a check from me, which I didn't give him. Second meeting, he came, we grilled him again, different set of people. Third meeting, he came, another different set of people, we grilled him. So we did some research on what he said. After fifth meeting, he was gunshot that he was going to get money. So he called me that night, he said, sir, tomorrow I'm going to come and take a check. I said, no, you have one more round to go. He said, wow. So he came, he withstood, myself, my dear friend Dhananjay, who is a chartered accountant from financial side, we grilled him. He withstood. So at the beginning of this meeting, I did explain to you, as an investor, we actually try to grill. We want to ensure that this individual, he or she, can withstand this grilling session. And he withstood. So, he will tell you about his life story, which is very inspiring. I don't know how he does it. He has a road trip to go now to Vijayawada, that's what he said. But I will tell you some of the accomplishments that this boy had. Recently, at the NDTV Indian of the Year Award, on February 12th, in fact, I accompanied him from Hyderabad to Delhi. I carried his bag. At times, I carried his shoes. He made me do all kinds of stuff. I said, man, as a board of director, I shouldn't be doing all this, But very interesting. You should see how he moves around the hotel room. He won the Special Entrepreneur Award for the 2015. In fact, NDTV saw his video Ink talk. And they called him. They actually went and showed Pranav Roy video. And Pranav was very inspired by him and he said, look, we want this person in Delhi. We want to give him the award amongst the other prestigious awards that they have given in different categories. And the lady called him and he actually initially refused. He was a very shy kid. He said, no, I don't want to come. I don't want to set the stage. He called me. I said, no, let's go. So he won that award and gave a very inspiring speech that day. In fact, a lot of people like Amitabh Bachchan and several other industry leaders actually were moved by his achievement. And then right after that, the Confederation of Indian Industries, the Southern Region, he won the Southern Region Emerging Entrepreneur Award. This was again in March. In fact, 2 days back, he won the Young Entrepreneur Award of 2016, the category of Social Entrepreneur of the Year. This was given to him in Uganda. He flew to Uganda, got his award. This is actually competed amongst 144 countries. And this is headed by Prince Charles. So it's called Youth Business International. That's the name of the association where Prince Charles heads it. There were 4 categories, and Srikanth won this award just 2 days back. In fact, in June, I hope I'm going to go with him. He's been awarded by Queen Elizabeth Award, the World Social Entrepreneur Award. So now I welcome Srikanth Bolla. Can someone accompany him, please?
SP made a parallel speech now, I guess. I was worried from the back he might tell our bed story in Delhi, Taj Palace, but I wish he didn't tell. So okay. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Good evening, friends. It's my privilege to be here, and it's an honor to speak in this illustrious group of audience this evening. And I really thank SP, who is so-called my troublemaker, and his team for giving me this opportunity. And before I begin, I think I really commend the work of the ruthless entrepreneurs, so-called like SP, because when you look at malls and these areas, even 1 square feet is left, these people think of giving it to a kiosk or do something so that they can make that extra buck. But contrary, with the experience I have been having with this promoter, I think he's a noble man inside, but he appears to us as ruthless entrepreneur, because that's the quality we all need to have to be successful in our career. But one day I was visiting his office last year, and I was just sitting at his table, and he called up his security head and said, "Did our guys get buttermilk today?" And what a noble thing it was. It was so sunny. And he was thinking and he was telling that security guards scanning our vehicles is standing in the hot sun, so you better make sure they get buttermilk 3 days a day. I think that was the noble thought it just struck my mind, because I always observe him, and everybody in fact for that matter, wherever I go. So I think that told me how a noble and generous he was inside. I think that actually made him to open up this Terminus Adda, which is a noble thing again. And I'm sure this would become a new incubator in the years and days to come. And I also suggest him officially in front of you all to have a small fund which will actually fund an accelerator model in future as he goes on, if the Adda picks up well, so that he can have selected screened enterprises sitting here and working out of this space, and perhaps he could use that fund to fund them to take off their wings, and that would be the good way to kind of encourage the out-of-the-box young ideas to come to practical life. So just consider that. Having said that, it is an honor and a great privilege to be among you all, who are so-called new generation of entrepreneurs and change makers who would shape our country. And all of you either part of it or wanting to be a part of this new economy, which is so-called digital technology and transformative industries, right? But I am working in a very old-fashioned and boring industry. Could you guess what it is? You may not, right? It's manufacturing. In India, even the CEO of even Amitabh Khan the other day in Bangalore, sometime back when we met, he was telling, you know what, manufacturing can only be done with robots. I told him, no, 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 it can be done with efficient hands, and that's what we do. So, if we don't transform manufacturing, we don't get anywhere in terms of job and wealth creation for our people. All of us can't be employed in high tech, right? Someone has to make the food we eat, and someone has to make the plates we eat the food out of. And that's what simply we do among a whole lot of other things. And, you know, let me today, I want to share a few insights or a glimpse of my journey as an entrepreneur, as a young entrepreneur. And let me tell you, entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. Ultimately, it is a very lonely path. It is so lonely because people do not understand why do we do things so differently than everybody else. Work so hard, take huge risks, and put ourselves through a roller coaster. In fact, even today, when you go and ask my father what he wants Srikanth to do, you know what he replies? He smiles and says, I want him to get married to a beautiful girl and get a government job. You know how it is, right? The thought of working for someone else, let alone for the government, fills me with total revulsion. I hope you do too. So that is why I became an entrepreneur. And another important fact is that no one would hire me because I am such a rebel. The moment I go, I disrupt their supply chain model, I disrupt their working style, I want the way things to be done. So even when when time doesn't permit, but I had interesting stories including getting a backlash and kicked out by the school because I was fighting against the management to give all facilities to the students when we were studying in a boarding school in Hyderabad. So that, I guess, creating my own space and creating space for people is the better option for disrupting entrepreneurs like me and you all too. Our personal experiences and hardships often shape our journey in life and in entrepreneurship. My parents are agricultural labor who earns less than 50,000 a year even today. And I'm not sure how government is going to double the income of the farmers as the budget says, but hope so they do it. But even today, I have been seeing my parents for about 22 years, 23 years. Their growth has not been 200% any single year. Maybe just a couple % here and there. But our company grows much faster, which is 20% month on month every month. From a young age, I was really determined not to be a financial burden on them because they get a bigger income that feeds us. Yet they gave good love and care, and I'm really grateful for them. And but when I joined a government school a couple kilometers away from my village, it was challenging to say at least. Because transportation is a major problem we among rural Indians, because we don't even have 1 rupee of discretionary income in our pockets. So I simply walked to school about 2 years every day, crossing all the puddles and vehicles. As the other speaker was saying, creating paths and all. We never had it. We don't even have a path to walk, and forget about footpaths or dividers. Anyway, and let me assure you, as 6-year-old, all the other senses were keenly developed simply after surviving on the village roads without the privilege of eyesight. The other thing that would have probably shaped more than anything else is what happened every day when I get to school. After doing a big trek, once you get tired and then you get to school, happy to see your friends, and when people say they don't want to play with you, imagine the feeling at that point of time, being a 6-year-old kid. Nobody would want to play with me, or nobody would want to teach me. So I used to sit in the last bench wallowing in my loneliness. Maybe Lord Buddha would have had the same experience in Lumbini before he got enlightened, right? But as a 6-year-old kid, I didn't know about that. I just wanted to be a regular kid and wanted to play with everybody. But that was not possible. That is why I say loneliness is due to the power, is not due to the sadness or thing, it is due to the loneliness of poverty. Because it's not because of money or anything, loneliness causes because of the feelings of the people. It was after 2 years, my father decided that I should go to a special school in Hyderabad so that I could be with the kids of my own kind. That was when my liberation began. Once I got to Hyderabad, I was access to mentors, library and resources and special teachers. What a privilege it was and what a happy moment it was. And that was the first time in life I realized nothing is impossible. God can give you only your starting circumstances, but we make our own destiny. The future is in our hands with just enough randomness to make things interesting and less predictable. Just get this straight, because we don't want to be predictable all the time. We just want to be interesting. But this is not to say Hyderabad was not challenging for an 8-year-old kid. Of course it was. But the stakes were higher. And that was the first time I realized if I'm going to work hard, I might as well aim as high as possible and never compromise there. Think about it. A person breaking stones in a quarry from morning to evening is definitely working harder than any of us, right? But her productivity is not still enough to bring herself out of the poverty and let alone build something meaningful for her. This is why I say exposure at the right age to the right things is very important. But what you do with that exposure depends on our talent and hard work. But without exposure, our talent and hard work will not get us anywhere beyond breaking stones by hand all day. Because that's very good. I am one of the lucky ones, in fact. Because the setbacks I actually had in life actually helped me gain more exposure and learn something meaningful. Whenever someone says no to me, what would you rather do if somebody says no to you? You know what I do? I just climb over inside and proceed to the next level. Because the ground level is always filled with no sayers, but if you go further, higher, you meet people who say yes because that's how they see the world, that's what they believe that everything is possible. This is the secret in life. The definition of success is nothing but seeing yes wherever you look. That's very simple, right? You never see no. Wherever you see no. You see yes. That is simply the success and secret that I have been witnessing all through my career. Now let me tell you, when I looked at the small manufacturing sector in India from studying from a world-class university, I saw a lot of problems. Let me tell you, the concept of a cottage industry is a terrible idea. Cottage industry is nothing but a subscale, substandard, low productive enterprise. But if we can't grow, we can't become efficient. If we can't, and innovate. Without efficiency and innovation, we fall further behind. And that's why we decided to take on the cottage industry and make $1 billion industry in India. And that's what we are on the way of right now. When you look at the role of the government, who after all has forced many industries in India to be cottage industries. In fact, government thinks cottage industries are the floor on which economy can build. And I think they are the concrete ceiling under which economy is stored of oxygen. Government rules are made with best of intentions, but then they become source of corruption, inefficiency and low productivity. I say this because this is real. Government has best of intentions, but whenever you have monopoly service provider monopoly service provider, you definitely see stagnation or worse. And dear friends, there is no bigger monopoly than government. That is why I suggest entrepreneurs do not expect government to do something, but you do something for the government. Let me tell you about our company, Volant Industries, which has been operating in a traditional manufacturing sector. What we are doing is simply innovating in a very traditional and old-fashioned industry, and not a very sexy industry like the IT or the next e-commerce boom in India. But we are hoping to create a ripple that would have impact on multiple sectors and segments in India. We started Volant because we wanted to provide mainstream opportunities for the unskilled and uneducated disabled people of the country and the globe. But other than that, we are a commercial enterprise which is open for competition and major takeovers in the industries that it operates in. I call we are a startup because we are still under 10 crore revenue and in business for about 3 years now. I had a very simple insight that led me to packaging industry in India. It is dominated by cottage level players, and the business is done with unviable economic models using cash basis, and is dominated by small mom and pop units across the country. So I simply thought if I could bring in MIT level thinking to this cottage industry in India, we could simply do a magic. Then after a year, when I met my troublemaker, we had another insight about this business from a finance perspective. He suggested to me that the cost of capital for these cottage level players is close to 50%. And if we could bring in capital at 15%, that would supercharge our growth. And exactly a year later, if we are talking to you, and more than a year, we simply did that, and that actually supercharged our growth. From a 75 lakh turnover unit to an 8 crore unit now within 3 years, with less than 50. Growth, I tell you guys, growth is a self-fulfilling prophecy if you can convince the world to give you cheaper capital at 15%. We are currently fundamentally altering the dynamics of the packaging industry by by bringing high quality products at scale to the market, and more importantly, doing it the clean way, meeting all our tax obligations and environmental obligations. Having said that, this market is filled with cottage level players. Within 3 years, we have achieved a leaderboard position as a dominant player in the market, and I'm happy to tell you we don't have competition, but we have stakeholders in the country. All these mom and pop units who were existing in the past became our stakeholders because we have a regional business strategy where we don't kill these small units, but we make our partners. And we give them all the essential ingredients to do the business for the local markets, and thereby benefiting us and them. So with this, we say we don't have competition like the Dixie or Solo in the United States, and we are the next Dixie and Solo of India, which is the Bolang, which will become a 100 crore turnover company in another year or 2 years, and we want to be the public company, creating better lifestyle, better livelihood opportunities for disabled people, sustainable revenue generation opportunities for Indian farmers, and build eco-friendly, conscious customer base who use our products, because we create products that people should be proud of using. Our future expansions will go one step further and recycle 100% of our paper and biomass organic waste in turning them to electricity and products that are going to be exported. One of the example is this urine sampling bottle made out of waste paper pulp. When you see countries like Germany, to take a urine sample, they don't allow plastic bottle. They are looking for an alternative, and we are building green bottle from the packaging waste that we generate out of our production units. And this is why I tell you, if everything what we have, had the environment impact and the cost embedded in it, I think we will create products that are cheaper than the plastic alternatives that are currently being used. And having said that, let me go back to that plate option. I said we need someone to make the plates that we eat food out of. The reason why we make them is I had a terrible experience in my village when I attended a party. I was made to sit on a table and they gave me a gold foil plate. And when I rubbed it, I got a gold paint on my finger. When I researched it, that was a foil which has been utilized already once by the hot stamping foil industry in Korea and other countries. When you see how they do sari printing in Surat, you might understand this. They use a coated foil to print, press it against a hot surface, heated surface, so that the imprint of the design will be transferred to the sari, and that film will be rewinded and sent to this disposable product industries. But now, just a year later, we have created products that are elegant, that are green, that are highly designed, and better qualified than the coral plates that you buy with 10,000 rupees a dinner set. So customers are very happy. So this is why I call innovation. See, innovation may not be simply innovating a next Facebook or next WhatsApp. You can take something which has been there for decades, alter the dynamics, alter the nature, make it safe for people, make it elegant, make it aesthetic and supply it. That is innovation. And the last thing I want to tell you, because most of you want to be entrepreneurs of this country, and do not hesitate, do not think less about yourself, try to take the big risk, and then you will become the big WhatsApp or the big Google in the future to come. So with this, I really thank Terminus team, and you guys are doing an excellent job, and I hope to see many ventures out of this, Adda. So thanks so much, guys, again.
I think probably after his parents, I know more about his life than anyone else. So he did not speak much about his hardships. I just wanted to mention, because a lot of things are here. When he went to school, when he came to Hyderabad, he was joined in a special school, and he was already in the already 3 or 4 months over into the school system. But he had a mentor, Miss Swarnalata. She actually not here today. And she is the guiding force for him. She used to translate all his books into an audio tape, and then he used to go listen. And that's how he finished his 10th grade. After he finished his 10th grade, he wanted to apply for intermediate in a local college for math, physics and chemistry. And he was not allowed. The principal said, you can't be, because you're a visually challenged person. There's no way you can do this course. So he filed a lawsuit in Hyderabad in Andhra Pradesh High Court. And he won the case. After the school started, 4 months, 5 months down the road, he was given a special GO was issued by the Andhra Pradesh government that Srikant Bulla can attend math, physics, chemistry as an intermediate at his own risk. They have underlined at his own risk. So 4 months into the school system, again, he translated all his textbooks into an audio tape. That's how we learned. Then after that, he wanted to go to engineering. I'm sure you have read about him. He went to appear for IIT training. Again, the same thing. The professor said, you can't do it. Then he said, heck with it. I want to go to the best school in the world. So he wrote SAT. Out of 2,400, I think Srikant got 2357 something like that. Okay? And then he applied in 5 schools in US, and he got in the top 4 schools, including MIT, Stanford, and Berkeley, and another Urbana-Champaign. But anyway, so he went on to MIT. Again, this guy played chess for India. He played cricket for India. India won the World Cup when he played for India. And at MIT also he played baseball. At MIT he played baseball, and he also did archery. He modified the equipment. So now we're asking him to come and start playing golf. Okay? So he's an amazing kid. Again, I thank Srikant for sharing your experience. Though it was short, I think it was a very inspiring speech, and as always, you inspire each one of us, young, old, and make us feel that we have more to do than what we are doing in life. So I have, if you haven't, Srikant, I have special kids here in the left or right side. They're from a school called. By the way, he has jointly given speeches with Abdul Kalam ji. Almost they have addressed 800,000 students under the youth program all over India. So if you go to Google and type his name, you'll see several speeches where he and Abdul Kalam ji shared.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We have few students from INI. These students are studying in Darul Shifa Government Boys High School. You are from Tapasya College. They were more interested to hear what Mr. Srikant Bulla is about to talk. So I was following up Balaji ma'am and he got next year. I hope they got more inspired with this speech. Madhu?
Hi, Srikanth, this is Radhika. Such a privilege to be here and like listen to your inspiring talk. I just had a quick question, like what's one thing that you hold on to like during your setbacks? I'm sure you had a lot of setbacks. So what's one thing you hold on to?
See, as I told you, whenever we have any setback that inspires us to go further and further behind, ahead, right? I mean, whenever, as I told you, whenever someone says no, I tend to think, why can't? And I don't give up. And I say, if somebody says, no, you cannot do, I say, I can do. And then I find ways to kind of work it through and achieve it. Because problems doesn't appear to be problems like me, but they appear a set of solutions to me. So that's why I call myself, I'm not challenged, I'm challenging. Because challenges are solutions for me. Whenever I face a challenge, I find a new solution. That is not with me, guys, that is with everybody, if you agree with me. Because all the entrepreneurs you talk to or all the companies you talk to, they might have had faced something where when you see when you read the Red Bus story, this guy Fanindra, who's a good friend of mine, wanted to go to Bangalore or somewhere to Diwali and he couldn't find a ticket. After making 10 phone calls to all these travel agents, they could not know who had what inventory. So he thought, said this is a big problem and I wanted to aggregate this and want to make a travel portal. The similar way, every entrepreneur life has some setbacks which might make something meaningful. So that's why I always advise you, whenever you face a problem or whenever you are thrown at a problem, don't think it's the end of the world, but it's the beginning of the world. Think about that way and then try to find solution, and that will help you to succeed in life. And that has been my experience.
Hello, here. Good evening. I run a forum called MSME World. It is basically for manufacturing unit size and supporting it is an initiative. So I'm surprised because you are very well qualified in MIT. You would have gone for e-commerce side or technology side. Why did you come to this one? Because I am into that industry. Since I know what are the troubles. Because everyone are against small industries. Everyone are against cottage industries. Payments are delayed. Loans are very difficult to get. Okay, but of course you are having mentors, but the scaling up is very difficult when compared to, traditional industry it is very difficult, whereas you modern industry, digital industry, it is faster to scale up and you would have monetized it very well.
Now, I completely agree with you. See, as I spoke in my the brief thing, see, if we can't encourage or if we can't promote cottage industries or MSME sector won't grow, that you always know. But having said that, no banks are willing to offer credit, even though we see these huge holdings of banks putting up for MSME units, we give you 1 crore up to collateral free. That's all bullshit. Don't even believe it. When I went to Bank of Baroda for a 10 lakh loan, that bank manager said you're in loss and I'm not going to give you a loan. And how can you expect a manufacturing company in tier 1 to make profit? If every business makes money, then there won't be any employers. There won't be any employees. There will only be employers in this world, right? So everything has two sides, like a coin, flip side. You either make money or you don't make money. Again, that depends on the entrepreneur and the team who executes the idea. So I believe, rather than an idea, I believe in execution. Whether you make a plate or a bowl, or whether you make a big machine, or you make the next robot, you simply have to believe on the execution. Having said that, we have qualified teams who can focus or who can aggressively scale and execute it to completely fulfill the entire supply chain system, and that's why we have been successful within no time. When you see, for example, as I told you, this packaging industry has a huge market potential. but which is filled with all fragmented MSME guys who cannot cater to high volume segments, high volume orders with customized designs, customized glues, customized prints on it, and the fully integration models were not there. So first thing what we did is we have managed the entire supply chain from design to delivery. We design it, we manufacture it, and we execute it. In the sense, we have the entire supply chain model and we have the entire set of machinery. That's why we call ourselves fully integrated company. If you want to make a corrugated box or your popcorn box, you need paper, you need glue, you need printing services, and a whole lot of other equipment to craft that particular box, right? We have everything. We don't depend on the market for the glue, or we don't depend market for the printing ink. We make everything in-house. That is why we can decide the cost of the product that needs to go to the consumer. We are the makers or the breakers of this particular market segment. Especially we call it this way because in other areas like the Nizamabad, Karnataka, when we were not there, they were selling that gold printed or silver. When you see disposable plates, what do you get to your mind? Those green and silver things, right? Same thing was happening at the market. But when we went and said, look guys, you need to change your lifestyle and you need to modernize yourself, and when we gave them alternatives of which are made with agricultural materials and which are made with high class world designs, people forgot those green and silver plates anymore. They don't even remember. So that is the shift that you need to bring in within the customer's mindset, and that also contributes to your success. And I can't give you all the points because we have done n number of things that has contributed to our success. Now we are spinning our retail model because in all corporate malls, and we are beginning with SLN, within 10-15 days you will see a kiosk right in front of Spar, because we want to compete head on head with Spar, because we want those kind of customer base. I'm worried he might listen anyway. So this retail model will actually help us to spread and to make our brand visible. And we have begun our export revenues for the last just a month ago. So 30% of our income comes from the export segment. So we are doing international, plus in the sense we do through e-commerce, at the same time we do through direct exports. So we are generating revenue from multiple sources which other MSMEs don't do. So they don't care how e-commerce works. So but we are on e-commerce. We sell our products on all our e-commerce partners and also on our Balance e-commerce site as well. So we wanted to create that simple interface for my consumer sitting in the United States, wants to order maybe a pack of 10 trays which are made with eco-friendly leaf. They might as well do so now, but previously they were not able to. That helped us to penetrate beyond India and achieve a market position in the country as well as in the international market. But lastly, do not depend on banks because they don't fund you.
I have one comment and then I have one question. One comment I make and then I'll give you the mic. He has investors like me, and we also have very powerful investors behind him. But still, it doesn't excite him. What excites him is I'll tell you, he and I went to Satish Reddy, chairman of Reddy Labs. We went and explained to him about his product model. And we said we want to raise funds. So he accompanied us to the factory, spent almost 2-3 hours. The evening he came, sent me an email and talking to him saying that he's committed to investment. So Reddy Labs chairman is an investor in this company. Then after that, he and I went to Srini Rajguru, my lab. Again, there again convinced. Interesting thing is, Srini runs a big outlet called Sri City in Chittor, where all the companies are. One of the things he has asked me is to set up a fully automated center, because currently he supplies the prasadam balls to the person, through an intermediary. So he has convinced Srini and also the PDD authorities and he has actually challenged the CCD authority saying that the weight of the bowl that they have is completely artificial and he can give a better product. Then we also had investor Kiran Gandhi, who is the vice chairman of GMR Airport, GMR Group. And most recently, last month, after he won the award in NDTV, Ratan Tata invested in this company. So Ratan Tata is also backing up this company. And most recent addition is the Coromandel Group vice chairman Arun Algappan, who is also committed to invest in this company. So though he has all this deep pocket investors, he still takes it very seriously. He submits his financials every month. And then this month we had a board meeting, in fact, me, myself, him and a couple of other guys. So, a lot of things to learn from him.
Commenting on that is, guys, investors are investors. They are like your mamas. They will hunt you down and you have to hunt them down. So I call it as a family. Sorry? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Better than no. Actually, banks actually are the worst funders. They fund the worst companies and then they lose money. They don't fund the best companies. Investors fund the best companies and make money. So that is the difference. Banks lose money and investors get money because they judge the entrepreneur and they bet on the entrepreneur's journey and not simply on the CMS data. Because the banks wants to see piles of CMS data and yet they don't understand what is in there. But still, they just want us to submit all that stuff and all those things happen. But now, in fact, banks are hunting down us. In fact, SIDBI Ventures wanted to fund us 10 crores for an equity. We said, no, we are not going to give you any more equity. You keep your money. And because we are confident on our model now, and we are getting the smart money, not just the money. Because whenever I think of money, I think of a smart money. When you take money from somebody, you don't expect only their check and then you forget them. You expect them to contribute to the growth of your company, and that is what helps you to grow further. And that strategic value you need as an entrepreneur from all your investors, and which banks fail to put in. So that's why we don't want to take money from the banks. And even when we wanted to buy a first delivery vehicle, banks said, no, we can't do it. Now, everybody is like saying, you take this many vehicles, you take it. Okay, I'm not going to run a transport company. And, I just tell them, I don't have a need now. But, and even my first car, I had to buy it on my investor's name. Because, bank said, no, you don't have IPs, we're not going to give you. Even in the LIC, they say, oh, you are blind, we can't give you LIC. And in fact, 2 days ago, 1 week ago, somebody was telling me, I'm the first guy in India who took LIC policy. And this LIC chief of India wants to come and personally give me that bond. But it's okay, I mean, this is a big change, right? So whatever you do, try to bring in innovation and change, which will stay further and which will stay with us forever to impact the entire world. So, I will ask that.
So, thank you, Mr. Srikanth. It was really a privilege to be here to speak today. And I brought my kids also along. With me today so that they can hear you speak and get inspired by you. So, speaking of banks, I hope the banks have learned the lessons with Vijay Mallya, and they'll get some good sense to start focusing their energies towards your industry as well. But you also heard of, I don't know if you've heard of Shark Tank. You've heard of that? You have to beware money you get from VCs as well. As you know, the other term for VC is vulture capitalist. You've heard of that phrase?
Actually, even two of our directors knows. One of our directors has nephew who releases ODs in Axis Bank, and even SP knows the head of AP Axis Bank and whatnot. When we asked them, we need just a couple crores OD, they said, do you have collateral? Forget. We are not going to see. Do you think Snapdeal has collateral? Do you think Amazon has collateral? Do you think Uber and Ola has any collateral? Do they own even one car? No. They don't even own a table and a chair. They just own a computer and some employees. They just own data and they are selling that data. And yet banks and other investors want to fund them, whereas the manufacturing companies, they take it negative in India, which has been the case. And with, as you said, with the case of Vijay Mallya, we would be the even worse hurters, if I can say so, because with that thing going now, banks would make their policies even stricter, which would actually not benefit anybody and benefit the defaulters. Because I can get you a loan now. Say for example, if I have a land which is worth 1 crore, but I can get a loan for 10 crores on that, bribing a manager for 50,000. And when I have to actually pay, and I don't pay you, I tell you put the collateral, well, you go and sell that and take it, I don't have money to pay you. What would you do? You just simply go to the site and say, what is your value? Your value is only 1 crore. So you better get that 1 crore or you will get 0. So that is the status of the banks now. So I'm not sure banks would anyway soon change, but the impact investing or the private investment groups that has been developing lately in India has been making a lot of investments and they are making money as well. Now, to tell you surprisingly, every day I get an email saying, are you willing to consider our proposal for investment? But we don't do. We consider only investment that are smart, that are efficient for us, and if we believe your investment can take us to the next level of growth, then only we will entertain for a meeting and then take your money.
So that's really good. I really like your confidence. You really speak like the CEO of a big company.
No, don't you think I'm not the CEO of a big company?
There you are. I like that. So one question I have for you is that you mentioned about efficient hands in the beginning, using efficient hands, and yours is a cottage industry. And you also talked about using machinery as well in one of the lines you mentioned along the way. So I really want to understand whether is there a particular principle you're following in your model, or is there so there's two core questions. One is there a
No, I understand.
you're following, and let me finish. And the second part of the question is that whatever model you're following today, considering that we are all operating in a global platform at the same level, so are your processes, whatever you have, they're efficient enough to compete with in an industry like packaging industry? What is the differentiation you're bringing to make things different and more efficient and lower cost than others?
Okay. I'm pretty sure, I'm surprised you asked this question having said that we are fully integrated, but let me answer you one by one. So when I meant efficient hands, yes, we did develop efficient hands that are better than robots. I say this with full confidence because our employees who are trained by us perform much better than the industry average. Because one thing is we have zero attrition, so people don't leave us. That's because when you talk about disabled people, there are no opportunities elsewhere. So once you give them an opportunity, they will try to prove to their fullest potential, and that comes to our favor. That's the step number one. Step number two is we pay better wages than everybody else. So once we get the trained, skilled people, and they try to work for the company, because we have strong staff welfare programs where we insure them fully, we take care of their families, and we take care of their needs. So they have less things to worry at home. So they have they have their full concentration on the company. Now, coming back to disabled people, we hire even mentally challenged people and train them at repetitive tasks. And they are 100% better in those repetitive tasks than you and me. Once you give them a job, from morning to evening, they keep doing over and over and over. Irrespective of whether somebody is seeing them, whether somebody is talking about them or anything. So this will in turn increase our production capacity. And the second thing is, for our disabled people to be comfortable in the workspace, we retrofit the machinery, we re-engineer all our machines, speaking with the manufacturers. It could be a small change, but we do it. For example, if you need a hydraulic lever, which would make the machine go up and down using your hand joystick, we make the joystick available for both your hand and the leg, so that even the person without hands can operate the machine. So once you give an opportunity to people like that, they will contribute double than the regular guy does it. If you hire a regular guy, he sits here, he sits there, he sits there, and he has 100 diversions to focus. If one girl is looking beautiful, he will be after her, and and I'm very happy that I don't have all those. That's one thing. The second thing about cost cutting, as I already told you, we fully integrate all our factory units, which will allow us to provide our product at least 20% cheaper than our competitors. And again, I don't want to use the word competitors because we don't have competition, but than our stakeholders. Because we give, for example, if a small micro unit in Nizamabad wants to make paper plates for their local market, we give them ready-made boards which are capable of selling in the market. So we have already charged our margin, and then they sell the product in their local regions. So what are we are gaining by the finished product, by the raw materials, and by the intermediate raw materials as well. And plus, for example, I told you we have glue units and we have adhesive. We have adhesive and printing ink manufacturing units, which sells our excess production. So suppose if we need 1 ton of glue per day, if the plant is capable of producing 3 tons, we don't simply do 1 ton and shut it down. We do our full production and we sell 2 tons in the market at margin, so that we have already made double the money there. So that will allow us to overtake the competition, if at all the competition comes in future as well, because we believe in faster execution. So, did this answer?
The glues are formulated for you?
Yeah. So we have formulated each and every product that we have in our manufacturing processes now. For example, people generally use solvent-based ink formulations to print on plastic and paper substrates, but we have replaced that using water-based substrates, which has drastically reduced our costing. That's because in the storage, you don't have evaporation loss of solvent. In the transport, you don't have loss of solvent, and you don't have the chance of fire accident. So you get all benefits. Plus, it favors the environment. It is only water and other entire system of resins and chemicals, alkates, formalites, and all these things will be used in the water medium, so that wherever you put the material, it doesn't get affected by any external sources. Even the glue, people were using synthetic glues which are acrylic based, but when we came into manufacturing, we have replaced that using PVA based and starch and animal glue based. We use locust beans, we use Korea beans, we use British beans, we use some rosins which are made out of, which are extracted from plants with native starches. Currently, we are in the process of setting up PLA plastic manufacturing unit which extracts plastic out of corn and supply and we plan to make biodegradable plastic containers to the world. That will alter the dynamics of the plastic industry.
Okay, Srikanth, another question. Actually, I feel after hearing so much, actually your company is doing better than you. You are overshadowing your company. Actually, your company, we should learn a lot. As an entrepreneur, I'm saying, as a MSME, I'm saying that your company is, I think we should, it is a case study. Actually, we should learn more of your company than you, because you are overshadowing. It is really amazing how the company is run, how it is growing. I'm amazed more than your story. I definitely.
Volant Industries Private.
We were last name. Actually, the name of the company used to be Ashadi.
Ashadi Projects Private Limited.
I said that sounds like an NGO. Let's scrap that name. Then I hired a company, and then we did some names, and it was very hard to sell the idea of cola. I told him we'll name something after your last cola. So he refused for 2 ways. One fine day, myself and another director, we said nothing doing. Heck, we're going to name it as Volant. Volant in Italian means be good and do good. And then my friend and myself, Murlu, who's not here, when we were flying from Bombay to Hyderabad in the air, we decided what should be the tagline. And we decided the tagline should be where everyone counts. So if I and you use that coin, use that tagline, I don't think it means so much. But for him to use that coin, it means a lot. Because he employs every category disabled people. I don't think I can hire those people in my company. To some extent because they're not able to do that. But he did enough to do that, and he's commendable on that.
No, I always tell them my workforce, my disabled workforce is better than the robots that they use in Apple factories. People laugh, that's because I mean it. Because they can be misprogrammed and whenever the charge comes, runs on low, they stop. But our charge is renewable. The moment you leave, again the charge comes and they keep performing it. So I don't have any charge issues, or I don't have any processor breaking issues, or corruption or virus issues. So I'm at least better than them.
In fact, when we invested, he said different categories. He said mentally retarded people also employ. I said, what do you do with mentally retarded? That's when he said, yeah, better off. So I went to his factory. I think I suggest the young kids and the older ones also to visit his factory. You should see how he walks from one machine to another machine. The day he and I were walking together, he heard a crinkling noise in a machine far off on the other corner of the factory. He immediately called the guy and said, stop it, the blade is half-inch down or something. So that kind of senses this guy has. So I like you to, I really want you to wish, I'm sorry, I really want you to visit his factory, learn more about his supply chain, okay? Investment, right?
No. I haven't paper. If smart money is there in this room, well, we can talk about it. And, absolutely, we can. We are now raising about 20 crore round, which about half of it is already committed, and we are talking to a couple other investors, including Wadhwani Foundation guys, Ramesh, and a couple of other big guys in investing. I have a couple other politicians and MPs and those commissioners are also on the board. So we said, no, we don't want to take it because then they think we are going to do some illegal stuff by keeping all government guys on the board. So we said, no, we don't want to take from the government guys. Of course, you can help us whenever the need comes. So we currently operate out of 6 manufacturing units and about 450 people, about 10 crore turnover per year, and with about 42% gross profit. That is what I've seen today when my accountant was telling. And we are, oh yeah, absolutely. So at least we are in the expansion, right? We have changed our strategy a little bit. Basically, what we are doing now is rather than building plants from scratch, of course we are doing it in Sri City. That's an exception. But other than that, we don't plan to build plants from the scratch. In turn, we want to take over companies which are being sick or which are yet to become sick, and then transfer the ownership and run it. So we are, in fact, we have acquired. It has not gone public yet, but we have acquired 2 packaging units in Hyderabad recently. The deal is on the table, and we are going to finalize in a few days. So we have taken 1 more plastic unit in some part of Hyderabad. So that's our plan. Our plan is to revive the stick industries in the country, and then be benefited by the expertise they already have got on the ground, the infrastructure they have on the ground. Maybe they could have become sick due to lack of supply chain or money or mismanagement, which we have. So we are willing to kind of transform those kind of units. So if at all you come across any, we would love to visit. Thank you so much again. Thanks so much.
Amen. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Shika. That was an amazing talk. There are a lot of children here. There are lots of specially able children here. And I'm sure all of us are taking back a lot of lessons from what Srikant told. And one thing that really struck me, and that's something I'm going to re-emphasize to my kids is, if you meet a no-sayer, find over him, because on the upper level straight line, you will find people who say yes, right? So, thank you. Wish you all the best. You have amazing dreams. I'm sure you're going to achieve them. Thanks a lot for sparing time and speaking with all of us. Hello. I would also like to thank Kanti, who's come all the way to spare time. The kind of work she's doing is something all of us don't pay much attention to, but we will benefit eventually from what the outcome is. We, our children, all of them will benefit. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. When I heard about the work Suman is doing, there was only one statement I made, that I wish his school was there before my kids grew up. His school was the one I would have sent my kids to, because then they would discover what they are capable of rather than going to a mill, right? And also Farhan, I think he's left. But what Farhan has done to Lamakan is being an inspiration here. We need to create more of these spaces so that people can come engage. There's so much of video, YouTube, my children are exposed to those games. I wish I can bring them out sometimes and show them, help them engage here. Now quickly, before we go, I'll just take 2-3 slides. We're going to put these talks on YouTube. Do share it amongst your friends. We will have more talks like these coming up. Apart from that, it's gone. Okay. So when you go back, search for Terminus Adda. There's a website. You'll be able to see various events that happen at this place. Almost every week we have 2 or 3 different events. There are some startup events. There are some cultural events that happen, not the dance and those things, but engagements that happen here. So do share that. Invite your friends. Bring them here. You can also like the Facebook page of Terminus Adda. That will keep you updated. Okay, that's all. Thanks a lot for coming.